Okay, Math 2, this is Unit 4, Worksheet 2. The focus on today's worksheet is perpendicular bisectors. This is Mr. Trutna, and let's go ahead and get through these 15 problems which were assigned to you. Okay, so in number 1, we're given this diagram right here where we have line segment A to B. We have line segment C to D. We can clearly see that where line segment C to D intersects line segment A to B, we have a 90-degree angle. And then we can see that we have these congruent marks showing that D is right in the middle between A and B. Okay, so the number 1 says CD is a what of AB. So since we have the 90 degrees, that means that it's perpendicular. Remember, the word perpendicular means or indicates that two line segments are going to intersect to make 90 degrees. But since CD also cut or split AB into two equal parts, it is also a bisector. So CD is a perpendicular bisector of A to B. Okay, then we move on to number 2. We have this diagram right here where you can see I have a perpendicular bisector on each side of the triangle. So I have 3 perpendicular bisectors, and you will notice that the 3 perpendicular bisectors all come together. They all meet at point K. Okay, so this says point K is the blank of the triangle. So remember, the point where the 3 perpendicular bisectors meet is called the circumcenter. So this right here is going to be the circumcenter. Number 3, what is the distance formula? The distance formula is the square root of x2, the second x, minus the first x, x1, to the second power, plus the second y, which we indicate as y2, minus the first y to the power of 2, or to the second power. So x2 minus x1 in parentheses to the second power, plus y2 minus y1 in parentheses to the second power. All take the square root of that. That's the distance formula. Okay, number 4, the midpoint. Well, the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Then we put a comma to indicate that we are going to find an ordered pair, and then y1 plus y2 divided by 2. All right, number 5, what is the slope formula? So the slope formula is using x1s and y1s and x2s and y2s, but the slope formula is take the second y value, y2, subtract from it y1, and then put that over the second x value, x2, minus the first x value, x1. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, notice the y's are in the numerator. We call that delta y. The x's are in the denominator. We call that delta x. And then remember, slope is represented by the letter m. Okay, so some math teachers would say m for slope is equal to delta y over delta x. Delta y indicates y2 minus y1. Delta x indicates x2 minus x1. Number 6 and number 7 are testing your vocabulary knowledge based upon what we've talked about. It says when 3 lines meet all in one point, they are called concurrent. Okay, the word concurrent means when 3 lines meet all in one point. Okay, the point where they meet is called the point of concurrency. Okay, all right. Every point on the blank of a segment is equidistant from the blank of that segment. So every point on the circumcenter, or every point on the circumcenter of a segment is equidistant from the corners or the vertices of that segment. All right, so that's how that would be kind of covering our definitions. Number 8 through 10. We're going to use this figure at the right to answer these set of 4 questions. Okay, so you can see we have a 4-sided shape. We have congruent marks We have 4x representing A to B. We have 3x plus 4 representing C to B. Okay, and then we have 90-degree angles indicating that A to C is perpendicular with B to D, and B to D is perpendicular with A to C. Says, what is the relationship between line segment AC and line segment BD? Well, both of these, because we have the 90-degree angles where they cross or where they intersect, that makes them perpendicular, but because we have the congruent marks, that makes them a bisector. So they are both perpendicular bisectors, okay? So they are both perpendicular bisectors. What is the value of x?